Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Razak at CMTrading. Today is February 15th, 2023, and today is Wednesday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, gold tumbles. But first, looking at the major economic events of today. So at 3:30 South African time out of the United States, we have monthly retail sales numbers coming out. And then also, after the close today, corporate earnings for Cisco, a major corporation in the United States. Now looking at the various markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, we're watching the Japanese yen get weaker versus US dollar. And as we look at the indices, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ both had a seesaw of a day yesterday and then trickling lower. Now looking at commodities, gold tumbling and oil trickling lower as well. And as we look at the stocks, it's Tesla back on its highs, rallying higher. And lastly, looking at Bitcoin getting that bounce. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. We're starting out with the Japanese yen versus the US dollar. And you could see we hit that low 133 and we're just really looking to break out at this stage as we're hitting 134. And this is really very important because if it does break out, we could see ourselves challenging what we saw before to the 134 and then to the 137 level on the high side. So keep that in note. I mean, this is not a breakout yet. It's not like it's a bona fide upwards trend, but keep it of note because if it does start going, it will start continuing. Now, the rest of the Forex symbols really did not move that much. I mean, especially if we look at the Euro USD, like if you were looking to trade the CPI yesterday and to trade the Euro USD, I mean, it moved, but not that much, okay? It moved between 108 and 107, 30-ish level. I mean, it's a decent move, don't get me wrong, but there's other things to trade during that time, and we're going to jump into it. So let's just jump straight into gold. Now, this tumbled yesterday, and we saw ourselves tumbling over the last couple of days, and it continued to tumble and show weakness yesterday. It did have that seesaw of a move, as is the case in most cases where major numbers come out. So keep that in mind today. We are breaking it slow, but we are hitting that. If we look at it, at that 1823 is a support level, and then 1800 is a support level, so just be aware of it. Now, all intents and purposes, 1830 is also a support level, and it may bounce off of it also. What I do like about this is that it's with low volume, and when it's low volume and it retraces like this, there's a greater chance that it's going to bounce, especially when we're seeing some resiliency in the stock market, specifically Tesla and Microsoft. I'm going to take a look at it in just a second. Looking at crude oil, we tapered lower to $77 a barrel. So all intents and purposes, that $80 range is that upper range. Okay, so that's where we hit and we are retracing there. Now looking at the US markets, okay, here we go with the Dow Jones. This is the greatest one to trade when there's major news coming out of the United States, FOMC, CPI, what else? Consumer confidence number. This is the one to trade, the Dow Jones Minis, because usually it's open during the market time. And secondly, because it moves with such velocity. And it's a representation of the entire market of the United States. It includes some tech stocks and includes everything else. So we saw that exactly happen yesterday. An initial huge spike on the upside, 34,500. Fade the news. It makes a correction, and that's exactly what happened yesterday. So, and we traded as though it was 33,834. Now, that is as close to a 1,000-point move in a matter of 2 hours. I mean, that's amazing. Okay, on one lot, that's $5,000. So just give you perspective. Now, we did trickle lower afterwards, but like I said, it's on low volume. If you look at it, it's nothing. It's just really a very, very low volume here, as you can see. So I anticipate that it's going to bounce back, okay, to its upper level. Now, when we look at the stocks, check out Tesla. Right back to that 209 level. I mean, it tested that 190 and had that support at 190, and look at that, back to the 209 level. That's a decent move for Tesla. If you look at some of the other major stocks, JP Morgan also on its highs. Okay, this is an important one. Facebook also relatively strong, making those days back. That's a lot of noise there with the Bollinger Bands, but it's there. If we look at Apple, also resilient and wanting to break out as well. And Microsoft right there on its highs. But it's got to break out. All these guys have to break out for the markets to actually show us some resilience. Lastly, looking at Bitcoin, did bounce off that 21,599, which was a resistance level before. Okay, we did test this before. If we look at a weekly, you can see that we did test this area quite some times before, and now we're above it at 22,100. Most likely, not for sure, but it should bounce above it and continue challenging that 23,000. So keep that on your radar. This is Fed Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.